Okay, so I'm going to be capturing my process for how I typically approach modeling a character that you only have one image for, because that's usually how I see character designs. Is you'll get a really cool sketch from a designer, and then someone else will go in and try and do a front view and side view for modeling purposes, but rarely does it capture the life and character that was in that initial sketch. And so what I like to try and do is build that sketch, because that's the image that everybody's responding to, and that's the design that people really want to see. So this design that I'm going to be working on, I found on my friend Yashar's website, and it's called yasharland.com. There's lots of cool artwork there, and he designed this little alien named Bernard. And I saw this guy and just thought, oh man, such a cool little character, really fun, kind of silly, and I wanted to build him. And so, and he also looks pretty simple, which for this demo is perfect. I'm sure we're going to run into a few tricky pieces, because that's usually how it works. The things you think are going to be the simplest, or they can get tricky. And so I'm going to save this guy off, and I've already created a project folder, and so save that image, go into Modo, and my modeling package of choice is Modo, but you can use Maya or any other thing. I don't think it's really going to matter. I think the techniques in this video are going to work for whatever package you use, because it's really just the concepts that I'll be showing. And so I'll go into front view, grab the artwork, and just drag it right in there. It's kind of huge right now, but I don't worry about that. Right, the beginning part of my process is just to create a digital maquette. A 3D version of this design is all I'm really worried about. And I'll worry about all the other technical issues like scale and expression, neutralizing all of that stuff, getting it ready for rigging. That will happen later. But for now, what I want to do is just capture this design in 3D. And so I'm not going to fuss too much over anything other than the main forms and capturing that personality. One thing that I will do is to adjust the opacity of this image down to about 50%, and that just allows me to work in wireframe mode over my artwork and still be able to see my geometry that I'm building along with the art at the exact same time, which is pretty handy. And I move it back in Z so that I can have my model at the origin and be able to evaluate the forms, but then still have the artwork up. And that's usually how I approach it, is like a drawing or a sculpture, where I'm just worried about the major forms in the beginning, all the big parts, and getting those represented and making sure that that works in 3D. And then I'll start to refine those pieces, adding the details like the wrinkles and all the little details like the nick in the ear, and these little lines in this tank, and the little notches in the feet, which are in there. There's a lot of little details on this guy, but I don't want to get caught up in any of that at the beginning, because if I don't nail down the big forms and get all the proportions correct, then no matter how many details I add on that model, it's never going to be representative of the artwork. And that's what we're really trying to do, is capture that character and that personality of this drawing that Yashar created. So with that, let's get started.